Welcome back to Sunny Morning. We're broadcasting live, right, Sylvia?
Exactly, from El Dorado Resort.
Here in Mexico's Riviera Maya. You should be here with us. Well, you are, some of you here, but for those of you who are viewing, I tell you what, this is the most beautiful day we've had so far. This is a gorgeous day here in March. I don't know if you're enjoying this in northern Canada right now, these 26-degree temperatures, but if you're not, book a flight, get down here. It's absolutely scintillating.
The pool is amazing, and
yeah.
it's very sunny, and the beach is beautiful.
It's absolutely, the water today is just that translucent blue out here today, so you can just take a dip. It's not even a ripple, so
make sure you come back to El Dorado Royal Resort.
This will be the vacation of a lifetime. You can't get better than this. So it's National Self-Development Day here in Mexico. So Sylvia's brought something to discuss with you today, which should be really interesting in terms of your motivation and self-esteem. Isn't that right?
Sure, you probably need some motivation because you just got some phone calls from Casablanca, right?
Yeah, I think I've upset a few people.
Somebody's upset up there.
Capitol Hill this morning, and the chief executive of Domino's will probably be on the phone next. I just bought some shares in Little Caesars as well this morning, just to rub more salt in the wound.
But anyway, but one of the reasons why I actually chose the topic of self-esteem and motivation, it's because motivation and self-esteem are two factors very important in people. Motivation and self-esteem, according to psychologist Manesis, affect our educational achievements, which is true, getting pleasure all out of our personal pursuits and relationships with people who are important to us, of course. Having good self-esteem and self-confidence means being able to hold our ground in relationships and to express and assert our emotional needs, right? These skills help to make relationships stable, balanced, and happy. Do you remember when we were speaking about some of the mothers when the kid, could be raised by the certain mothers or parents?
Yes,
with certain
absolutely.
Kind of character and discipline or motivation. Well, motivation is a very strong factor when we're raising children. So because when the person feels lack of confidence, then they can feel unworthy. And earlier we were talking about how impact our relationships or the people that that we really love. And when that happens, and if the person feels unworthy, they cannot really develop a good relationship to others, especially to the ones that the person really care for.
Yeah, you were saying to me, isn't it? A lot of people just jump straight into, hey, I need to get motivated, and they kind of go to an action. But it's understanding what's holding you back first, right? You've got to look at why. Like you say, is it something emotional, perhaps? That maybe not sort of allowing you to find that motivation.
Exactly. When we lack confidence, we feel unworthy, like I was saying, of finding what we want, saying what we believe in, and of course when that happens it creates frustration on the person because they don't feel that they're accomplishing their goals, and most of the time, Elliot, they feel that they blame that, maybe I'm just procrastinating something, or maybe I don't have the right attitude this morning, but that's not all. I mean, there is something subconsciously. It's really touching the person and making them feel one way or the other. So that's why it's very important to build self-esteem and to build a system of self-motivation all the time.
Everybody loves, well, I shouldn't generalize. I mean, not everybody, because I know you're self-motivated. I mean, you've told me many times it surprises you. You've been to conferences, like Anthony Robbins, and you go to an Anthony Robbins conference. It's really motivating. I've done it in sales many times. You walk across the hot coals at the end. It's all great. You come back to your sales environment and you're crushing it, for 2-3 days, and then it all wears off. Then you were saying to me at the conferences, you'll talk to people there, hey, he's always up, he's always revved up, he's ready to go, it comes naturally to him. I don't know what's lacking in me.
That is the issue. Like, give me an example, Elliot, let's say about sales. You've been working a lot in sales, so give me an example of what you just explained.
Well, I've worked in sales all my life, and I mean, having a sales team and being a sales leader, I mean, if you're in an organization, you're trying to motivate people, I found the best thing that works for me is to, okay, so you got to do 80 cold calls today, and I tell my sales guys, hit the phone, and I know they're hesitating, I know they don't want to do it, and I'm like, well, it's one or the other. I mean, if you want to see a zero in your bank account at the end of the month, then don't do it. So I'm kind of telling them, if the fear of the consequence of not doing it should motivate you.
Okay, let's frame that for a second, because
right.
That's a really perfect example. Now, every leader thinks very similar, like you are. Of course, you want to motivate and encourage the employees, the salespeople, but most of the time, when they actually get in touch emotionally with that way of the way you are giving the motivation to them, they get connected, and of course they will do it. But most of them, they will think. They're not going to say to you, of course, you are the boss, but they are going to think, man, I mean, he thinks that this is very easy, but it's not. Why? Because, and they can feel motivated in the morning, they can have the right attitude, like, oh, I want to do it, I want to be the best, I want to sell. But inside, in a level where they cannot, they cannot really set, they cannot meet, which is a subconscious level, there are some emotions hidden right there, where they are actually can be being pushed not to do it, but not because they don't want to, but because they can't. They don't find a way. Maybe they have fears, maybe they have frustration, maybe they have different issues or situations in their lives where make them feel that they just cannot do it.
Yeah, that happens to everybody. I mean, you shouldn't feel bad. I mean, but trying to identify it, what is holding you back, right? I mean, how do you get to that?
Exactly. Well, that's a tricky thing. That's why specialists we are for. So, well, to begin with, a good way to find out is to be honest with yourself. Like if you are having, a person is having that situation, like, yes, I want to sell, talking about sales. I want to sell, I've been getting all the training, I've been reading books, I understand whatever they are telling me, I do. But the moment I just speak, I say it. But guess what? All I know is that I do the right thing, I say the right thing, I have the right attitude, but I don't sell.
Right.
That's all I know.
Yeah.
So when that happens to you, if that's the point, when that happens to you, then you must start asking yourself, not why I didn't sell, because it's, you gotta like, what do I have in me? What is holding me back? How do I feel? And you could close your eyes for a moment, for a 5-second thing, and then you just close your eyes and start asking yourself, what is it? Is it a fear? Is it lack of confidence? How do I feel when I am presenting the sale? And then your mind is gonna respond to you right away, and then you're gonna find out exactly what it is. Whenever you discover what it is, then that's the cause, and it's like a medicine. So you go to the doctor for an infection of the throat,
right?
But maybe you will have a situation in the lungs, not in the throat, right?
Yeah.
So you felt it in the throat, but the cause is in the lungs. Okay. Or another example that I really love is on the football field, right? Have you seen the regular soccer football when they kick the ball, right? And they get a goal, accomplish a goal. And some of the players, the team players, they do exactly the same, even in a penalty.
Yeah.
And they don't get it.
Yeah, right. Right.
No one could be there. The goalie cannot. They don't have to stay there, but they don't accomplish it.
Right.
And also it's a mental. It's a subconscious. It's beyond the mental situation.
Yeah.
The mental we can control our mind, but the subconscious we don't know. So that's why it's very important to work with these fears or barriers in our subconscious to transform them, and then we can actually, our conscious level, we can improve automatically.
So basically, I know we're going to get into this a little bit later, but when you see very successful individuals, they follow certain rituals, right? So
exactly.
they can overcome those barriers because they set up some rituals, right?
Yes, and that's a good way to do it too, because they create habits, and habits create patterns, and then it becomes in an unconscious level the way they are actually acting every single day.
Well, awesome. So, I mean, I'm learning a lot just by listening to this on the psychological, or what's going on in the subconscious level, right? So, and I think basically when we come back, let's develop that a little bit more. Let's give a few more examples. Thanks so much for being with us. Stay with us. We'll be back with Silvia Ressa in a few minutes.
Let's do it.